Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. A while back, I was watching a YouTube video and it really got me thinking. There's a channel called Retro Ghetto and he proposed an awesome question and I felt like I needed to do a response video to it. But it took me a while to come to this. So the question that he asked on the video is, are you a gamer or a collector first? And that's what I want to talk about on today's episode. So roll that intro. So before I get into answering the actual question, I kind of wanted to give a backstory because it's one of those questions that can have a million answers. So recently, I came across a video from the channel called Retro Ghetto, and this channel is pretty damn good. It's a smaller channel like mine, but he proposed an awesome question, and this question has been making its rounds. I mean, there's a lot of big channels that are actually going to his channel and making response videos to his question. And it's, are you a gamer or a collector first? And I thought long and hard about this. I'm not gonna be on the fence like he said in his video. I'm gonna give you guys what I feel I am. So before I give my answer, I'd like to go into a little bit of a backstory to give you guys my thinking on this question and how I came up with the answer. You know, way back in the day when I was a kid, I didn't own many video games. And that was just simply because I was poor. I had very few, and it's kind of weird because there was times where I didn't have electricity, but I had a video game console off and on throughout the years. So it's just kind of weird to think back about how many games I actually owned and that I have memories with. So when I was really young, I definitely consider myself an actual gamer. Video games were my life. I played a ton of video games. I didn't really own a lot, but a lot of people had video games that I knew. My uncle had video games, and that's where we played a crap ton of them at. My friends had video games. My cousins Casey and Travis had video games. Everybody had video games, it seemed like, except me. I did have a console, and I had a couple games. But back then, I played so many games. But I never really collected video games. I collected G.I. Joes. I collected my fair share of Hot Wheels and Ninja Turtle figures. I've always had the collecting bug, but very early on, I'd say I was 100% a gamer. But collecting G.I. Joes and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle figures was much cheaper than trying to collect video games. I mean, you know, video games were outrageously priced. You know, you could get a G.I. Joe for a couple bucks. But a brand new video game, it's gonna cost you 50, 60 bucks. Even more. I remember paying $94.99 for Street Fighter 2 Turbo at Toys R Us back in the day. And it just blew my mind, like such an expensive hobby, and it's always been an expensive hobby. So I never had like 50 games laying around. So back then, I definitely consider myself a gamer. I just didn't collect a lot of games because I just didn't have the money to. My parents scratched and clawed and struggled when I was a kid. Buying video games just wasn't on the agenda. As I grew older and I started making my own money, I started to collect things. And one of the things I got back into was retro video games. This was before the prices gone bananas like they have nowadays. You know, I was amassing a collection of NES games pretty quickly and pretty cheap compared to today's prices. And that's where I got a lot of these games. Everybody sees the NES collection in my videos and they're like, oh, you're just probably a collector, or they might just sit on a shelf. And, you know, yeah, there's a lot of games on there I don't play. Games like Magic Johnson's Fast Break and Blue Marlin, I'm never gonna play these games. They're just gonna sit there. There's no sentimental value there. So I'm trying to get every licensed NES game, and that's quite an accomplishment if you can complete it. And I'm pretty close to doing that, but the thrill of it, it really isn't there, and that's when I was collecting hardcore. So as I was trying to complete my NES license set, majority of my time was just focused on completing it. They would just sit on the shelf though, and I wasn't playing games very much. And at that time, I guess I consider myself more a collector. But having games like these just sitting on a shelf doesn't mean anything to me. There's expensive NES games I have sitting on a shelf, but they don't mean anything to me. But games like Super Double Dragon and Fatal Fury for the Super Nintendo, these have meaning to me, sentimental value. I remember playing these with my uncle. I remember playing these with my cousins Casey and Travis. You know, so many memories wrapped up in these games right here. Yeah, I definitely consider myself a gamer early on, and as I got a little older, I transitioned over to a collector. But you guys probably want to know nowadays. Well, nowadays, I still collect, and I've branched out and started collecting a couple more things. But if I had to choose, I'd definitely say I'm more of a gamer now. And I'll give you a couple reasons why. The NES set, I've put on hold. I'm in single digits on games that I need to complete it. But I just don't. I've branched out and started doing toys and things like that. There's really no passion for me to complete this set. I just don't have it. The games that I need have no sentimental value to me. They're just going to sit on this shelf. I'd much rather get a manual for Super Double Dragon if I didn't have it, or a Super Smash TV manual. Nowadays, yeah, I consider myself a gamer. My collecting bug is still inside me. Trying to complete the set, it used to be a #1 priority. But now, I kind of don't care. I don't care how much these things cost now. I've actually debated on getting rid of a lot of stuff because the passion isn't there to own that stuff. It's cool to look at, yeah, but memories of games I have like these and other games for Super Nintendo like Star Fox and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 4, Turtles in Time, it means so much more to me than these high-dollar NES games sitting on my shelf. So if I had to pick, I would say I'm definitely a gamer now. So nowadays, I transition from retro games to modern gaming. I do both. I mean, just recently I was playing Conquest of the Crystal Palace for the NES, Legend of the Mystical Ninja for Super Nintendo. I play a lot of games. I collect also, so it's like a mixed breed. I'm kind of in the middle. But there was a time where I really didn't play a whole lot of retro games. And that's unfortunate because these things are meant to be played. I know people do crazy stuff with their games, and that's fine. I know people that don't even take them off the shelf. I know people who don't even own a retro console, and if they do, it's just sitting in a box. And to be fair, I have a ton sitting in boxes. But I also have games that I play regularly, and to each their own. So to answer the question outright, I feel I'm more of a gamer now. I used to be a collector, but when I was trying to acquire this set, I just lost the passion for playing, and I'm so glad that I realized that and went back to my roots, because I'm definitely more of a gamer than I am a collector. I know it looks like it, but if anybody knows me, they'll tell you that I play my games regularly and I play them often. And it's no shit for me to take down Little Samson or Bonk's Adventure and throw them in and play, because Bonk's Adventure is actually a pretty good game, and so was Samson, but no sentimental value there. If those games weren't sitting on the shelf behind me, I wouldn't miss them. I wouldn't feel like I needed them like I did earlier on when I started collecting NES games. That's just my story, and I'd love for you guys to make a response video to this. Are you guys more of a gamer or a collector? I'll put the link to Retro Ghetto's channel down in the description. I think this is a fantastic topic, and I'd love for more people to cover it. Well, that's all I got to talk about today. If you guys have any comments, leave them in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, keep on reminiscing, baby.
I think they're excited.